on the border, the same border that Rachel was killed in, within a 2-mile stretch. In 7 weeks' time, 3 internationals were killed by the IDF. It was a military out of control. And, but Danny, this soldier, said to me in this letter, he said, I am so upset about what happened to Rachel that I'm considering leaving. But he said, my 2 teenage sons have looked at me and said, Dad, if we leave, then who does that leave here to press these issues with their government? And that's my response. Yeah, I have a job to do here in the United States. Our tax dollars did pay for Rachel and Rachel's death, and are continuing to contribute to a lot of other things around the world that I wish that they were not being used for. So my job is to try to change that.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to go to our last question. Sorry. Sorry, we're unfortunately obligated to leave the next minute or so.
Okay. Hi, and thank you for coming. And I wrote it down because I was listening and writing. I just wanted to know, how do you feel and what is your response to people here in the U.S. who know Rachel from the video that's shown of her on Fox News burning an American flag, and how do you explain that this is not the image that is the center stone of her work in Palestine?
Oh yeah, that incident. You know, that took place on February 15th of 2003, and I don't know how many of you remember what was going on then, but that was the lead up to the war in Iraq, and that was the largest number of people around the world that had protested a war ever. And Rachel was with a group of children in Khan Yunis, I believe, with this. They were holding this rally against the war, trying to show solidarity with the people of Palestine and Iraq. And the children were drawing. In Fox News, it's like she went to Fort McHenry, I think, and took down Old Glory and took a blowtorch to it. But actually what was happening is these kids were drawing in crayon pictures of the American flag and the Israeli flag. And the children were burning those. And they passed the flags up, and Rachel called us when she did that. Actually, we were out protesting too, so we had a message on the phone when we got home. And there's Rachel's voice, and she said, Mom, there's this picture out on the wires. And she said, and I look like a mad woman. And she does. She's got her mouth wide open. She's yelling something, and then she described it to a friend of ours in Brazil as that a small bird could fly into her mouth. And so it does look pretty shocking. And it's these kids would pass up, what she said to us is that these children would pass up the piece of the paper. She said, I looked at that Israeli flag, and it has the Star of David on it. She said, I couldn't burn the Star of David, but I could burn our own flag as a form of protest. And then she took, the paper flag, yeah, Cindy's saying. And so then she took those pieces of paper, and on the stripes, she wrote the names of, like, Halliburton and some of the corporations that were going to make money off of the war in Iraq. And so while that's probably not the way I would encourage somebody to protest, because we've been talking about that now for 5 years, and it kind of misses the point. It's also what she was saying, I think most Americans now, and certainly most of the world, has come to agree with. Now, in terms of the flag, after Rachel was killed, Palestinians wrapped her in the American flag. And we're told that that's one of the very few instances of the American flag being used in respect, as a sign of respect in Gaza. And that's the way we remember Rachel, put it in the flag. Thank you.